It was a bright, humid Tuesday morning at Camiguin Polytechnic State College, or CPSC as everyone called it. Inside room 5, the ceiling fans hummed softly, mixing with the sound of papers rustling and Professor Salo's voice as she discussed grammar and composition, explaining sentence structures and how to build clear and meaningful paragraphs. Sitting near the back was Mark, 18 years old, quiet but sharp, always watching everything around him. To his left, JP, energetic and quick-witted. To his right was Jared, strong, reliable, the kind who always stepped up when things got hard. Across the aisle sat the three girls: Joanna, smart and organized, always carrying a small planner; Nelly, gentle but brave, the one who always comforted others; and lastly, Andrea, bold and fast-thinking, never afraid to speak her mind. Together, these six were close friends. Including them, there were exactly 30 students inside the classroom that day. No one knew that in less than 10 minutes, their lives would change forever. At exactly 10:14 in the morning, a loud crash echoed from the hallway. Then came screams, sharp, terrified screams that froze every student in their seat. Professor Salo stopped talking at once. "Stay here. Do not open the door," she ordered. Stepping toward the exit, she pulled the door open just a crack. Before she could speak, something grabbed her. She was pulled out so fast, the door slammed shut again. But not before Mark caught a clear glimpse. Pale skin, torn clothes, blood dripping, moving in a way no human ever should. Chaos exploded instantly. Students jumped out, shouting, crying, asking what was happening. Then more sounds came, heavy footsteps, dragging noises, and low, guttural growls that sent chills down everyone's spine. Someone ran to the door and locked it tight. Another student screamed while looking at the window. People running across the campus grounds, falling, being pulled down, and those who fell stood back up again. Change, wrong, dangerous. Then the college loudspeaker crackled to life, voice distorted and breaking up. "Emergency situation. Infection outbreak. Stay in your rooms. Do not go out. Rescue teams will arrive in 7 days. I repeat, 7 days." The signal cut out completely. Dead silence filled the room. 30 scared students looked at one another. Mark turned to JP, Jared, Joanna, Nelly, and Andrea. His voice shook but stayed firm. "We have one goal now: survive for 7 days, and we stick together. No one gets left behind." Night fell fast on day 1. By day 2, the truth had fully sunk in. They were trapped outside. The campus was silent except for the endless, low growling and the occasional bang on doors or walls. Whatever those things were, infected, undead, monsters, they were everywhere. A noise drew them straight to you. They took stock of everything they had. Joanna listed supplies in her notebook: one water dispenser, a few backpacks of biscuits and chips from student bags, some notebooks, pens, chairs, and metal bars from broken desks. Mark made rules. No loud talking. Ration everything. Sleep in shifts and block windows and doors. But fear split the group quickly. Some students refused to listen. 5 boys argued that staying meant death. They wanted to break out, run home, find their families. Mark, JP, and Jared tried to stop them. "It's only day 2, Mark said. "Rescue comes in 5 more days. Going out now is suicide." They won't listen. They grabbed heavy chairs, unlocked the barrier, and stepped into the hallway. 30 seconds later, screams, then silence. That was their first loss. 25 students remained. As hours passed, hunger and thirst began to bite. The air turned hot and stale. Every small sound made everyone jump. JP kept morale up with quiet jokes. Jared helped reinforce the barriers. Joanna tracked every drop of water and every piece of food. Nellie calmed the crying students. Andrea watched the windows, always alert. That night, Mark didn't sleep. He sat by the door, listening to the sound outside. He realized survival wasn't about being strong. It was about staying calm, making hard choices, and protecting the people you cared about. And right now, that meant protecting everyone in this room. In day 3 brought their worst nightmare. Late afternoon, heavy banging started right outside their door. Loud, violent thuds that shook the wood. Everyone froze. Mark signaled for total silence. Jared held a sharpened metal bar. Andrea stood ready with a chair leg. JP, Joanna, and Nellie helped move heavy desk to brace the door. The banging got louder, faster, then crack. Splinters flew as the wood split. Panic erupted. Some students screamed, running to the back. The noise got only made the things outside more aggressive. With one final blow, the lock broke. The door flew open. Two of them rushed inside, fast, wild eyes, empty, teeth bared. Chaos took over. Students ran, tripping over bags and desks. Screams filled the room. Mark, JP, and Jared fought back hard, swinging, pushing, driving them back. Joanna guided students away from the danger. Nellie helped the injured. Andrea threw books and objects to distract them. It was over in less than a minute. They managed to slam the door shut and block it again. But the cost was terrible. 11 students were gone. Only 14 remained alive. Despair began to spread. Supplies were running dangerously low. Water was down to just a few liters. Food was almost gone. The air was thick, hot, and smelled of sweet and fair. They learned fast. Silence is your best weapon. Any sound, a cough too loud, a dropped pen, even a quiet sob could bring death. They spoke only in whispers, slept leaning against each other, watched every shadow. Mark carried the weight of every loss, but his five friends never let him break. "We're still here," JP would say. "That means we're winning." Joanna kept writing. 4 days down to go. Jared reminded everyone, "We started together. We finished together." By the end of the day 4, only 9 students were left in room 5. Day 5 began with silence so deep you could hear breathing. 9 left, weak, hungry, thirsty, tired beyond words. The water dispenser was empty. The last biscuit crumbs were shared carefully. 3 more students feel ill, feverish, dehydrated, too weak to move. They couldn't survive the night. Now only 6 remained. 6 survivors: Mark, JP, Jared, Joanna, Nelly, and Andrea. 30 students at the start, now just them. On day 6, the last day before rescue, desperation hit hard. The 6 friends sat huddled in the safest corner, leaning against one another. No one spoke much anymore. They had watched classmates fall. They had fought, hidden, suffered, and survived things no teenager should ever face, but they were still together. JP broke the quiet first, smiling weakly. "You know, if we get out, I'm never complaining about early classes again." Jared laughed softly. "Me neither. I'll even thank Professor Salo for all those grammar and composition essays and strict corrections." Joanna held her planner, pages filled with notes, counts, rules, reminders. "We have done the impossible," she said. "One more night and that's all." Nellie nodded, holding Andrea's hand. "We made it this far. We can make it one more night." Mark looked at all of them, his best friends, his family now. "We stay quiet. We stay alert. Tomorrow, rescue comes. Tomorrow we go home." They shared the last drop of water from a small bottle of Joanna had saved for the end. They watched the window as the sun went down, painting the sky over Camiguin in deep orange and purple. For a moment, it looked like any other sunset. Beautiful, peaceful, normal. But they knew better. They knew what was waiting outside, and they knew they only had to survive until morning. The morning of day 7 broke gray and still. Mark woke first. His body ached. His throat was dry. His clothes were torn and dirty, but he stood up. JP, Jared, Joanna, Nelly, and Andrea stood beside him, slow and stiff but alive. Everything outside was quiet. No growls, no screams, no banging, just silence. Then far in the distance, they heard it. Heavy engines, multiple vehicles, voices loud and clear, amplified over speakers. "Attention, survivors! This is the National Disaster Response Team. We are here. Rescue's here." Andrea gasped, gripping Mark's arm. "Do you hear that?" JP pounded his fist softly against the wall. "Yes, yes, that's them." The sound grew louder, closer. They saw movement through the window. Soldiers in full protective gear, moving carefully across the campus ground, clearing the area, checking every building, every room. "Room 5, Mark shouted, voice cracking. "We are here, in room 5. All 6 of them banged on the door and walls, shouted, waved their hands. Minutes felt like hours. Then footsteps came down the hallway. Steady, heavy human footsteps. "Room 5, a voice called out. "We're coming." Together, they pushed aside the heavy desk and cabinets blocking the door, unlocked it, pulled it open. Bright sunlight flooded in. Fresh, cool air rushed inside, smelling of grass and rain and life. A soldier stood there, rifle lowered, eyes wide in shock. "You're alive," he breathed. "We thought We thought no one survived here. Behind him were more rescuers, medical teams, trucks, and other survivors being helped towards safety. Mark looked back at the empty classroom. 30 desks, 30 chairs, 30 lives that started this week. Now only 6 walked out. Joanna held her notebook tight. Nellie wiped her tears from her eyes. Andrea smiled for the first time in 7 days. JP put an arm around Mark and Jared. They stepped out into the hallway, into the light, into freedom. By the 7 days, 168 hours. That was long it took. 7 days that felt longer than a lifetime. Mark, JP, Jared, Joanna, Nelly, and Andrea were 18 years old enough to be college students, but young enough that they should never have yet to face the hunger of fear and death. They started that Tuesday morning at the Camiguin Polytechnic State College, worrying about grades, projects, and grammar and composition requirements. They ended it changed forever. Survivors, bound together by something far stronger than friendship. They never forgot Room 5. They never forgot 24 classmates who didn't make it. They never forget Professor Salo, her lessons, the growls, the silence of the pain. But they also never forgot what they learned, that when the world falls apart, strength isn't measured in muscles or weapons. It's measured in loyalty, in sharing your last drop of water, in standing together when you're terrified, in reminding each other to keep going even when every part of you wants to give up. 6 walked away from CPSC alive, and wherever they went, whatever they did for the rest of their lives, they carried that truth with them. Out of 30, only 36 survived, and that was enough because they had each other, and that is what saved them.